Hello and welcome to the Brian's Guide game. I'm Brian, and today I've got a game called Clever Cubed. Clever Cubed is a 1-to-4 player roll-and-write game by Wolfgang Warsch and published by Stronghold games. This is the third game in the Clever series. That's pretty clever and twice as clever as the first two. This is essentially the same game as by the same designer, has the same mechanics, but it has a new score pad. In this game, one player is the active player and they roll the dice, choose one, roll again, and so on, until they have 3 dice. All unused dice go to a pool where the passive players get to pick one to use. This continues for a set number of rounds based on the number of players, and then you calculate your score. So let's check it out, and I'll show you how to roll, how to write, and how the different areas score in Clever Cubed. To set up, give each player one score pad from the sheet. I'm going to put that right there. I'm just going to do one to conserve, get as many games out of this as I can. Also give each player a little marker. Place the dice in the center of the table, and you're also going to need the box with the insert for the silver platter. So, at the top, you can see, depending on the number of players, we're playing a different number of rounds. We're playing a 3-player game, so we don't need to worry about that last one. And at the beginning of each round, you cross out the first one, and you gain that bonus. So you get 1 extra re-roll, and you mark that by circling the little spot right there. Then the starting player rolls all the dice. Then the player chooses one of the dice to use, and then they discard all of the dice with values lower than it to the silver platter. So we're going to take this yellow 2, and then the only one lower than that is this pink 1, so that goes up there. Then the player gets to roll all of the dice again. So then we're going to take the white 3, and then that 2 gets discarded, and then you roll the rest. And they get to pick one last one, and then we're going to take this blue 3, and then the final one also gets discarded to the silver platter. So then after they pick their 3, they offer the dice to all the other players, and the other players get to choose one die to resolve, and it's not removed from the platter, so all of the other players could choose the same die if they wanted. So then you resolve the dice. So this first one is a yellow 2, which means we have it in the number 1 spot. So in the yellow, it means you have to mark off the yellow 2 in the 1 position because it was the first die chosen. So that right there. So this yellow section, you get points based on how many spots you cross off in each row. So this one, right now I'm scoring 2 points because I've crossed off 1 in that row. If you cross off 2, then you get 6 points, 3, 12, 4, 20, 5, 30, and 6, you get 42 points. And then you get those points for each of the 3 rows, and you get bonuses if you cross off on either side of each bonus. So if I crossed off the second 2, then I would get an extra wild die. And then in order to cross off these gray ones, you have to pick the yellow from the platter. So next we've got this white 3, which is a wild 3. So then I'm going to use this white 3 in this teal section. So since I'm the active player, I get to cross off 1 3 for every 3 that I picked. So I get to cross off 2 3s. And I'm going to pick, to cross off these 2. And once you've filled up all of the dark squares in a row or a column, you get the bonus picture down here. And it's only the darker squares. So if I color in these 3, then I get a wild yellow, and so on for these, and I'll say the same for the rows. And then you also score for each number. So if you right now I have 2 3s, so I'd score 3 points. And then you score the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 the same way. So then we resolve this dark blue one. And for the dark blue one, you need to write it in here, and you need the value to be plus or minus 1 to the one adjacent to it. So this one is 7, so I'd need a total of an 8 to put there, or a 6 to put there. But you can't roll a 6 or an 8 with this die, so you add it to the white die. So right now I have 6, the dark blue plus the white is a value of 6, so then I can write a 6 right here. And then the next value I could write would be a 5 or an 8, and then keep going down. And you can reset it by having a 7. So you can put a 7 in any of the spots. And you score points for however far you make it. So this is you get 3 points there, 6, 9, 13, 17, 22. You also get the bonuses pictured underneath. And you get a bonus 4 points for really high values and really low values that are hard to roll, like 2, 3, 4, and then 10, 11, and 12. So then after the active player scores, you hand the dice to the next player, and then they roll. So let's say they roll that, and they really want this wild 4. They take the wild 4, and then all of the lower dice get discarded to the platter, and then they're gonna roll these, and they'll take the brown 4, and then this one, and they take that. Now, that's actually really good. They could get a whole lot of teals. If they had, earlier the dice was like that, if they had taken this 6 instead, they would have discarded that 4, and then they would only get to resolve 2 dice, which is completely possible. But they stuck and got 3 4s. So then they resolve those, and then you get to pick one of these to choose. So then we get to resolve a die, and we're going to choose this pink one. And in the pink area, you get to either write the number on the die right there and score the full points, or you can half it and gain the bonus pictured on the bottom. And then whatever you choose, you get to multiply it by the multiplier up top. So by 1, by 2, by 2, and then even by 3 over here. So there's no bonus here, so there'd be no point to choosing that. So we write in the full value of 2 right there. So then the next player would go, they roll, and then whatever dice they don't choose go up here. And then we choose a die, and we're going to resolve this brown one. So on all of the other spots, I guess, so you can't skip any spots in the blue one, you have to go adjacent. The pink one, you have to keep going down the row, but in this brown one, you can skip if you want. And you have to write down the value that you have. So right now, we've got the 3, so we're going to skip the 1 and the 5 and write down the 3. And you get bonuses if you have the numbers on either side of it. And then how this one scores is you score points equal to however many you get. So if you skip a whole bunch of them, and you can't go backwards. You have to start here and you keep going that way. And if you get to the end, that's it. You can't go back and fill anymore. And you score points equal to how many you have, or pictured up here. So if you have 1, it's 2, and it goes all the way up to 90 if you get all 12, which would be pretty insane. So then it's back to your turn, and you get to the next round. So round 2, you cross that off, and you get the next bonus, which is +1. And let's talk about these bonuses a little bit. So this re-roll, say you roll all your dice and you really don't like that. So then you cross off that re-roll right there. And if you choose to re-roll, you have to re-roll all of the dice. So we're gonna take that and roll it again. So then this next one is the Joker. So if we had that circled, you could change the value of any of the dice you pick to be the number in the middle. So I could change it to be that 3 or 4, 5, 6, and then if you get to the end, you get to choose any number for it to be. And then this last one isn't a +1 to the value, it means you get to choose another die. So as the active player, that would mean you get to pick 3, and then once you're done, you get to pick 1 extra one. Or if you're the passive player, then you get to choose an extra die from the platter. Or you can even pick one of the cards that one of the dice that the active player chose. So then at the end of the game, after you've gone through all 5 rounds, you flip it over, and then this is the score pad. So you write in everybody's names, or I guess they left enough room for names. You don't have to choose the initial, and then you write down your score for each spot. So you go back to the yellow and do it for how many in each column, add it all together, that goes in the yellow. And then the teal, same thing, blue, brown, pink, and then you've got the fox. And you get, for every fox you have, so let's say we crossed out all of these, so we've got that fox, and let's say we skipped over here and got that 6 and that 3, so we got that other fox. So now we have 2 foxes, so then you get to score points equal to the lowest points you scored in one of the other categories, multiplied by how many foxes you have. So if we have 2 foxes and your lowest was, let's say you only had 20 points from the yellow section and that was your lowest, then you would score 40 points for the fox. And then you add all your scores together, and then the player with the most points wins. That's how to play Clever Cubed. Okay, got my dad here for Parents' Opinions. Dad, what did you think of Clever Cubed?
I thought Clever Cubed was very clever.
Okay.
just kidding. That was a cop-out. No, I thought that it was really well done. It's, essentially the same game, but they just keep changing, the color dice and how they score. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to compare it to the other ones. I don't know. I think it's just kind of a natural extension to the other ones. I don't. The other ones don't stick out in my mind as being better or worse. I mean, it's just kind of the next in the series.
Okay, so we'll jump right into the components, and you got a bunch of custom wooden dice, and they're painted, and then there's a bunch of those, and then there's also the little score pads, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to the roll and write components.
Yeah, it comes with the little markers, and...
That you love?
Yeah, the amazing markers. No, they're good that they're included, so you don't have to go find them. I don't like the little markers, because I always knock the little
They're very
top
small.
off.
Although I was playing another roll and write by a different publisher, and they included large markers, which fit nice in the hand, but I felt like they made the box like unnecessarily large.
Well, this box is already kind of big.
That is true. Well, I mean, I like the size of that box, and those large markers of the aforementioned roll and write could have fit in that size box. I don't know why they made the size box that they did, but that's a different review for a different game.
And then also this game is cool because it uses the silver platter in the insert as a component of the game.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Sometimes when I think of German tabletop games, they seem the German games coming from Germany seem to use the boxes more than kind of the American board games.
Yes, I can see that.
I think
yeah.
I think it's really cool. I mean, even in this case, it's just a small, printed platter on the thing, but it's at least using the box in a different type of a way.
Yeah. Okay, so next is artwork, and it's kind of an abstract game, so it's really just more graphic design. Everything is just pictures of dice, and then the fox. I guess the fox is cool.
Yeah, he's clever like a fox. See, it's tied in there. It's a theme.
Yeah. I mean, loosely. And next is strategy. So, I mean, there is a lot of strategy in this game, but it's also kind of what you roll. So the strategy comes from picking the dice.
Yeah, I mean, inherently, dice games inherently have luck, and they're luck driven because of obviously the roll. But you're right. So the strategy is, well, this is what I've dealt with. Mm-hmm. Which ones am I going to use? And I will say that this game, as well as some other roll and writes, but especially the Clever series, really, I think, is skewed towards the people that have played it a lot, because knowing and understanding how each of those areas scores greatly benefits the people that are familiar with them, as opposed to somebody who's never played it before.
Yeah.
Because then you have no idea which, I'm going to take the turquoise one.
Yeah.
But if you plan it right, then...
Yeah, and I also like how it evens out the luck a little bit by allowing you to do the roll, and then you pick one, and then re-roll. But if you choose something with a really high value, like really good die, then it gets rid of all the other dice lower than it. I think that's a good mechanic to kind of even out the luck a little bit and add more strategy to the game.
And when you're the passive player, I think
being able to pick the ones,
being able to have kind of a couple of to choose from, and still getting to play something even though it wasn't on your turn, can kind of help you in between turns.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that part of it. I think the one part that I like about the cubed version versus the other one is the yellow area. So they added in Roman numerals 1, 2, and 3. So now it really means something to pick your die first. Because before it was like, well, you could do it in any order or whatever. Yeah. But now your yellow one is dependent on when you select it. So it's a lot harder to pick a yellow, or you really have to be smart about when you pick the yellow one, because it's going to be either in the 1 row, the 2 row, or the 3 row. So
yeah, that is a good point.
That was kind of...
And next is easy for kids. I mean, it's a strategy game, and there's a lot of numbers and thinking and trying to chain things together, so it's not the easiest thing in the world. But the basic mechanics are simple. You just choose a die.
Yeah, I think the age says 14 and up on that one. Yeah, you're right. You're not going to play it with the elementary school kid. I mean, it's easy enough to do, but there are a lot of nuances to, I'm going to pick this color and this number, and then I got to decide where to put it. I mean, they're not going to win, but if you have a gamer kid, I don't know, middle school age,
yeah, they can pick it up and play
12,
it just fine.
13 would probably be fine. But yes, I mean, the way that some of them score, they all kind of score differently. Like the brown one, I thought was kind of cool in this version because you start with the left, and then like you can't go back, and so that I thought was kind of cool. And then the pink one was interesting too.
The half or get the points.
Yeah, and then you can there's a multiplier.
And then there's the multiplier
so
too.
like that really depends. Like, oh, do I take the pink one now? And like I got a 6, I can multiply that by 3. Like that's a lot of points. So that one was kind of cool too.
Yeah, very true. Overall, I had a good experience playing this game. Like the mechanics are really solid. Rolling the dice, picking them, and then also being able to play dice when it's not even your turn is a nice touch too.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, I mean this one's a really good follow on to the other ones. Like I said, it's kind of in the same line. It's the exact same gameplay. They just kind of mixed up the score pad a little bit. So if you really like, the first two. I can only think of the German name. That's pretty clever and twice as clever. Yeah. Then definitely you're going to love this one. Check it out. Clever Cubed by Stronghold Games.
Yep. So thank you for watching. Brian's Got Game. Please like us on our Facebook page. Send us a tweet at Brian's Got Game. Visit our webpage, briansgotgame.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Brian and this is my dad. I'll see you next time.